Hello, welcome to Tales Under the Cat Tree. My name is Dileepu Jayawardena, better known as Dupes. In this podcast, we'll explore the wonderful worlds created by words on paper, from technology and the future to fiction and other realms. If you want to get to know me and find out who I am, you can listen to episode number 1, where I attempt to put you to sleep with all the gory details. Please remember that all my writing is available on my Substack at tales.dupes.ca, including the articles that make up this episode. If you enjoy this or any of my writing, please do subscribe to either this podcast or the Substack, where I hope to bring you articles, stories, and interviews regularly. This is episode number 4 for the week of May 25th, 2025. This week, I will leave the world of technology behind and go exploring out in the world. Earlier this year, I had the pleasure of spending a couple of months on sabbatical exploring the country of Chile from top to bottom, from Arica in the north to Punta Arenas in the south. I've already put some photos on my photo site at photos.dupes.ca, and there will be more coming. Today, however, I wanted to delve into some of what I learned and saw driving in Chile. Driving is such a cultural thing. There's the law, and then there's how everyone interprets the law. As I was working on this, I was reminded of a piece I wrote in 2010 about driving in Sri Lanka. So in this episode, come fly with me to 2 very different countries on 2 very different continents and explore how each culture approaches the hazards of driving. A man is standing at a crosswalk, just before 2 lanes filled with traffic spill out into a roundabout. My foot slides gently onto the brake. I wasn't going that fast. I glance reflexively at the rearview mirror. For a second, I do a double take, and I almost slam my foot down at the sight. A car has managed to pull up behind me speedily from the other lane. The driver is madly making hand signs. Had he a passenger, I'm certain they would have plugged their ears. As it was, we were both in the world of the driven mime artist. His hands, yes, both, are out making the universal sign for turn on your hazard lights, followed by both hands doing the upturned back palm miming, what the heck is wrong with you? I'm trying to be polite. My mum might be listening to this. Yes, I turn on the hazard lights. I'm driving in Chile. In case you get the wrong message, for the most part, Chile is a wonderful country in which to drive. Over a 2-month period, I rented 2 cars. The first took us around the Atacama from Antofagasta through San Pedro de Atacama to Arica, the northernmost city in Chile, and back. The second time, we experienced the south, from Concepcion to the volcanic region close to the border with Argentina. A car is essential to leisurely exploring a country that spans from near the equator to the very tip of South America. Despite our gesticulating friend, Chile is also a courteous country when it comes to other drivers, for the most part. Turns out, despite whatever official material or training might say, in Chile, your default mechanism for signaling anything happening on the road to others is to turn on your emergency blinkers. This can truly be any sort of hazard. A cow on the road? Hazard lights. A person waving you down? Hazard lights. Are you approaching a set of lights that you already saw, but now they are red and you don't know if anyone else is paying attention? Hazard lights. Turning, and you don't want the person behind you to rear-end you, even if you are using your turn lights? You get the picture. An Argentinian hitchhiker, whom we delivered to his house, said, "This country is weird with the blinking lights. In all my 15 years here, you can do no wrong on the road as long as you put on the emergency blinkers." He had been a bit reticent as a hitchhiker until I asked if this was the same in other South American countries. At this point, his eyes lit up and we explored the topic in an animated fashion. In Canada or Finland, and seemingly in the official documentation for Chile, your hazard lights are there to signal an emergency or unusual circumstances. I can think of only a handful of times that I've used them. My hand just doesn't move reflexively to that button. I believe the design, having the button in the center console of most cars, is meant to prevent you from immediately punching it. In Chile, though, I guess the normal way of driving means increasing the level of quote-unquote unusual circumstances to include pedestrian crossings. On the other hand, as a pedestrian, I did appreciate the visible notice that the car has seen me and wouldn't be running me over. In all, not a bad thing, just a cultural difference I had never considered. We concluded almost 2,500 kilometers of driving during our time in Chile. If I include the numerous Ubers, buses, and other vehicles, then that count increases by an even larger margin. On occasion, I would see news of some grisly accident on Route 5, the main highway running the length of Chile. This is understandable to some extent. The road covers immense distances with a large volume of diverse vehicles, from giant mining trucks in the Atacama to overloaded little cars in the south. In the north, the high altiplano allows for a 2-lane black strip carved into the vast arid salt flats. The road stretches straight and as far as the eye can see. Every so often, we would come across memorial crosses by the side of the road. The crosses seem to indicate many different possible accidents. Vehicles may have turned a tight corner too fast and fallen into 1,000-meter deep canyons, or driven off the road in bad weather, or the driver had simply fallen asleep at the wheel while passing through the unchanging landscapes of the north. At first, we counted the crosses, but after some dozens of kilometers, we lost count. Some memorials to the fallen were elaborate with pictures, lights, and shelters. All continued to be lovingly maintained by the families of the lost. Some had even been carefully moved by road builders as the roads were being renewed. I suspect it is a measure of respect from one citizen to another on these roads. It's not like we didn't also come close to becoming a marker on a road. On the very last day, I, the poorly observant driver, turned the car onto a poorly signed construction road. We were narrowly missed by a construction vehicle which sped and swerved in a panic through my blind spot. Neither vehicle had our emergency blinkers on. Now that we've experienced Chile, let's fly some tens of thousands of kilometers to the country of my birth, Sri Lanka. I visit Sri Lanka fairly often. My mother lives there, as does my wonderful niece and her parents, amongst a pantheon of uncles, aunts, and cousins of many generations. On a recent visit, I noticed that driving in the congested capital of Colombo was remarkably silent compared to just 15 years ago. In 2010, after having my eardrums punished, I described the cacophonous orchestra that accompanied driving in Sri Lanka. A small part of me misses that orchestra. To be fair, it's a very small part of me. I have updated the piece to be relevant to 2025, and I do realize that what I described can still be found if you go looking at the right place at rush hour. Driving in Asia is an experience everyone should have at some point. Don't worry about driving on the other side of the road, if that's your concern. At least the pedals are in the same place. If everything goes wrong, just close your eyes and pray. In Sri Lanka, with one of the world's greatest density of religious public holidays and every Bodhi tree a holy shrine, the very trees may be listening to your prayers. Just don't hit a Bodhi tree. The populace will likely be angrier at that than any bodily injury you may have incurred. Of course, driving in Sri Lanka can also be quite dangerous. In 2024, more than 6 people were killed each day in a traffic-related accident. That's quite high. But let's not dwell on such morbidly fascinating issues. Driving in Western countries is quite simple and, frankly, comparatively boring. You get in your car, adjust your seatbelt, straighten your mirrors, get into your lanes, watch out for traffic lights, and off you go. Heck, these days, it's likely the car does that all for you. Driving in Sri Lanka, and I suspect most of Asia, is about participating in a symphonic conversation conducted in concert with a giant stage production. A theatrical show featuring cars weaving in and out, narrowly skirting pedestrians, and acrobatically twirling drunks, while avoiding certain death and dismemberment by the other vehicles on the road. Your car horn becomes more than your friend. It is an extension of the car, your communication tool, and occasionally, your savior. Let me describe the opening allegro movement of this car horn symphony on the streets of Sri Lanka as recorded in 2010. Hi, I'm here, beeps the Nissan Sentra. Oi, I know you're here, just beeping twice, honks the Nissan Prado. Watch out, I'm thinking of moving into the next lane, sounds the Suzuki Maruti. What lane are you talking about? I'm already here. This is Sri Lanka, what the hell are you talking about, lanes? Hey, watch out for that pedestrian! I'm honking to the pedestrian as well. Okay, now I'm honking to the pedestrian knows I'm gone. Honking twice, that three-wheeler is barely moving. Get out of my way, I have vegetables to deliver. A truck with headlights blinking incessantly. Ha! You may think you're big, but I'm bigger. A towering and teetering public bus bears down on the truck. The conductor is frantically waving out the opposite side as if warning everyone in front that the driver and bus has gone completely mad. The bus passengers are all praying silently. Oi, I'm here too. A three-wheeler with the engine of a lawnmower on steroids tries to pass the bus, which is passing the truck, which is passing a pedestrian who is now wondering why he didn't just get in a car to cross the road. Just honking, even though there's no other cars. A small Maruti passes by. Hey, you on the motorbike, I'm behind you. A bike laden with an entire family passes by with a car gently nosing its way out to pass them. A bus coming from the opposite direction gently blinds the car with its powerful lights. The car pulls back. Thanks, the motorbike honks. No problem now, I'm passing you. The car moves out and passes. A drunk twirls seductively, waving his arms in the air by the side of the road. He falls gracefully onto the road. A motorbike swerves. What the hell are you doing here, you stupid bugger? The car driving opposite honks. A pedestrian dances across to the drunk. The drunk waves him on, as if he were a conductor. Get out of my way, get out of my way, the sirens of a motorcycle are blaring. Can't you see I'm important? I have police written on the side. A black car with shades honks. I said get out of our way, your little lives are worthless. Another motorcycle with the lights and siren blaring. You should know by my deep honks and flashing car that I am one of your ministers, you pathetically struggling people. Out of my way! That's the big four-wheel drive with the wife of a governor minister and one of his children. No, don't listen to him in front. Remember to vote for him in the next election. A smaller car beeps plaintively as it now passes in the motorcade. Okay, you can go back to your business. I said go back to your business. The last motorcycle zooms by with its sirens blaring. Hi, I'm here, beeps the Hyundai accent. Remember to master the techniques of conversing with the horn when driving in Sri Lanka, or you too shall be an uninteresting statistic on a news item. If you come to Sri Lanka, take the moment to sit by the side of the road. I suggest behind a concrete barricade. Close your eyes and listen to the undulating conversation of horns and sirens. The giant conductor in the sky is telling a lively story about life, politics, and death. You just have to listen. I hope you had fun listening to this episode. I definitely had fun making it. You see, in 2010, when I wrote that piece, I could imagine all of the sounds in my head. Today, in trying to put it into the podcast, I had to go find lots of car horns to make the same effect for you. I don't know if it worked. I hope it did. But if you can imagine even more horns than what I have actually put here and all going at exactly the same time, and if you can imagine all the people in all the cars trying to understand what each horn and what each person is going to do so that they wouldn't second guess them or triple guess them or quadruple guess them, then you can imagine what it was like back then. I always enjoy visiting new places to learn how people interpret and respond to their surroundings. Today's pieces give a sense of two very beautiful countries, and I hope that you enjoy traveling to them with me in our little virtual car down the roads and byways of Chile and Sri Lanka. You can view photos of my trips at photos.dupes.ca. Many of my photos have been offline from the web for the better part of a decade or more, and I'm working my way through getting those back online. It will take me a while, but there are definitely some photos of this last trip to Chile. For this episode, I want to thank my colleague Bartosz, even though what he helped me with was not a success. In trying to improve my audio, he gave me a Focusrite Scarlett 2i2 amplifier. So I decided that I would go find a more decent microphone. Once I installed, though, I realized that it was actually too good. I don't record in a proper sound studio. I have 2 cats. And a good condenser mic with an appropriate gain revealed the truth in ways that would make this podcast unbearable to listen to. Being new to having a podcast, this was an important learning. Sometimes really good equipment can be worse. Next week, I will dive into fiction, AI, and some cringy actual friction from my younger self. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I would love to hear from you. Maybe you have driving stories of your own as you've explored the world. You can reach me through email, contact@dupes.ca, on Blue Sky @dupes.ca, or on my site and this post at tales.dupes.ca. Remember to subscribe so I can get to know you better and learn from you. Give your pet a cuddle and your loved ones a hug till we meet again for some tales under the cat tree.